Hi, I'm Bob Krause. I'm president of the Veterans National Recovery Center, and here we are today at Local 105, United Steelworkers of America. And we're here because a couple of very important people are here that are critical to veterans groups within the labor movement in the state and within Eastern Iowa. And so we're going to learn more about what veterans groups within the labor movement do. So I'll let you take a nice shot of that sign there, Vicki, and then I'll go over and we'll start up. And the people here that I'm with Pat Stock, also with United Steelworkers Local 105, John Lane. This guy's a Navy guy, this guy's a Marine, and they have different roles. Pat is the chair of the Iowa Federation of Labor Veterans Committee, and John Lane is the chair of the local 105 Veterans Committee, and they do quite a bit. And we're going to go inside the Union Hall, and we're going to see a little bit about what is going on there, and then we'll talk broadly about veterans, what they do within the labor movement, how they help other veterans, and the direction that those things are going. Hi, this is Bob Krause again, president of the Veterans National Recovery Center, and we've got this right on the inside of the Union Hall in their main meeting area, and it shows how much Union Local 105 thinks about their own veterans. And we have a guest here, Jerry Porter, and Jerry is an activist veteran. And Jerry, could you tell us what we have here?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I mean, some of my other fellows, them were cards that was sent to the veterans in probably Afghanistan or Iraq or somewhere, and they've taken pieces out of each one of them cards and made the American flag.
Wow.
Which is phenomenal.
Yeah, that's a real labor of love to do something
Yes,
like
it
that.
is. Yeah.
Now, what does that sign underneath it say? Can you read it?
I have to get a little closer.
In appreciation for your dedication and support to the men and women of the Army National Guard who serve to defend freedom.
So that was those were local units that went overseas.
Yes.
And they did that. We're back in the Steelworkers Hall again, and this is the Steelworkers banner that we've got up here. And what we're going to do is talk about the programs that these folks are active in and how the unions and the veterans interact, how they help each other. And Pat, since you're the chair of the Veterans Committee of the Iowa Federation of Labor, why don't you go first?
Well, one thing we do, we try to get all veterans together, offer support any way we can. In this area alone and throughout the state, we try to work with veterans committees, VFW Post, American Legion Post, anything, and try to help them support their causes and their needs, whether it's from a rally, food drives, clothing drives, Bridging the Gap Stand Down, which is a personal favorite of mine. We add the people in there to help support it, from setups to teardowns to even offering guide services while they're going around these functions.
So what do you do, you said you do a lot over at the Rock Island Arsenal.
Yes.
What do you do over there?
So at the Rock Island Arsenal, we have something called Franken Fridays, and John Lane and myself and then another member go over there, and what we do, we just build camaraderie with the Army base, the Army people over there. What we'll do is feed them hot dogs. It's called Franken Friday. So every first Friday of the month, we'll go over there and just treat them to hot dogs. A little bit of sponsorship money goes into it, which is not a big deal, but it's more just to talk to them. A lot of the guys over there are about ready to retire, so we'll even give them tips on maybe how to be employed at our place of employment.
So that is a big goal of Franken Friday, and to get more veterans into jobs, good paying jobs with this particular union.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Now, you talked about the homeless thing too.
Well, that's Safety Stand Down, and Jerry has a lot to do with that, as well as Pat and me. I've been to a couple. But what I really like about Franken Friday is, like he says, we get communications with USO out of Chicago. We get communications out of USO for locally, and that helps our veterans here and our veterans over there. And also on Memorial Day, we've been tasked with helping them put flags on the tombstones. And we have quite a few people that do that are veterans or that want to do that from our local.
Now, how does that work with the retirees?
Retirees, if they have the time, they can do that too.
Yeah, and we try to encourage them. It's always the first Thursday before Memorial Weekend, and we go over and we meet there. Usually they'll have a group from, I still call it Alcoa, and we get our flags, 25 to a bundle, and then upon each stake, it has to be exactly the same one. You don't go and just poke them in the ground, so that everything meets the military standards, which we have. I'm going to guess now from last year, we're probably over 33,000 flags.
The union puts in the ground. Wow.
Excuse me, 35,000.
35,000 flags.
35,000, and when I first seen it, I thought, this is the most unorganized thing I ever seen in my life. And 50 to 55 minutes later, all of the flags are on the graves. It's incredible.
How many volunteers did you have to do that from the union?
Oh, I don't know. We're probably 20, 25 out of our group, I suppose.
Oh, that's a big chunk. That is a very
Plus, you
big
got
chunk.
Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, church groups, other VFW stuff, and then the Korean and Marine Corps League. When we get done, they furnish it with hot dog and water and chips.
Well, I guess that's a fair trade-off. Now, I know that you do the labor or the homeless thing too.
Yes.
And that requires some special organization. Who wants to talk about that?
It's Bridging the Gap. And that's Mike Malmstrom is the chairman, and I'm the co-chair of that. And what we do is we have fundraisers. We had a taco dinner, I believe it was in February, and that's where we raise our funds, and then we have to rent space at the QCCA. And if these veterans that come in, they check them, make sure cell phones, guns, or knives, anything is all put away and locked up. And then they stay overnight, and we feed them, clothe them. Doctors come from Iowa City, psychiatrists come from Iowa City, dental, and then we have haircuts, and then we have a hearing van that comes in and checks their hearing and stuff.
So there's still quite a few homeless veterans around the
Oh,
area?
absolutely.
How many do you think you got in the area that drift in and out?
My guess, maybe 200, 250 maybe.
Yep.
In the Quad Cities
Yeah.
alone?
It's-
Wow.
You'll hear different numbers, it's not that much.
Depending on what year.
Yeah, and they'll call it couch surfing, one your house to this house to my house.
Yeah. Sometimes they call it
We call that
paratroopers out there.
homeless.
Yeah.
Maybe our government says it's not homeless, but yeah, it is.
It's homeless.
And it's mainly, I can't believe the women and the children that are involved with this. Oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That are veterans.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
tragedy what's going on with a lot of PTSD
And a lot of our
vets.
benefits are being
Yeah.
cut by Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, moving up the pipe then, Pat, you've kind of got a big picture from where you're at. Where do you see the veterans movement in labor going here in Iowa, and also how does it tie up to the big national picture?
Well, I think for the national, it's a lot about passing on communications. I mean, what you hear, what may help a veteran in need, we pass that information on through all the locals in the state. We are really just the troops that go in and help. I mean, we try to disseminate the information for them and get them directed to where they need, whether it's veterans benefits or getting a good job.
So if somebody did want to get a job in a labor union, even if it wasn't, say, steel or something like
Right.
that, you would know enough people around the state that you could point in a particular
could,
direction.
yes, yeah.
So if you're a veteran out there and you want a job and you want a good union job around Iowa, you have a contact here at Steelworker 105 in Bettendorf, Iowa. Just look them up and ask for Pat Stock, and he can probably signal where you should go to start that process to get a good union job. But it's a real honor to work with you guys because you are the frontline soldiers for getting veterans back into the community. There's so many that come out that are disconnected, they don't know where to go, but it's people like you and the labor union that are helping. And I'd like to personally thank each and every one of you for the good job you've done. And this is Bob Kraus, and I've been with Pat Stock, John Lane, and Jerry Porter. And we've talked about what the Federation of Labor is, the Iowa Federation of Labor, and the locals in terms of helping our veterans. Thank you very much.